Okay, here we go.
There you are.
Hi.
Hi, Ed. I'm Klinger. I work for DC 101 here in
DC 101 with a big thunderbolt.
our beautiful nation's capital.
Yeah, very good. How you
And I got
doing?
to ask you a question. What emotions are you feeling? Day after tomorrow, you're going to release something that only you and the musicians that you've worked with have heard and really know about. So you're 2 days away.
Yeah, I kind of I'm in sort of blissful ignorance, kind of, you know, uh, very happy that it'll be out there, but it feels kind of there's an unreality to it as well. Um, it just feels. I mean, yeah, it's been a while to get here, but I'm just pleased that we're nearly there. Yeah.
It's well, I've heard Cloak, and the guitar is a match for your voice. You're not hiding that guitar. It's front and center with your voice, and it's so
Yeah.
precise and so clean and just beautiful. And
Thank
so
you.
it's cool. It's like you're dangling the carrot before the record drops. It's like an appetizer.
Well, it was, to sing with Laura Marling is just such a musical treat and really a highlight of my last 30 years of being in music because she's such an extraordinary artist and an amazing voice. So, yeah, we one February afternoon in 2018, we just, I think we did about 6 or 7 versions of it. I was really nervous. It was the most nervous I was on the whole record. And I was kind of like, and then when you get nervous, your fingers don't necessarily go at the right place you want them to. And I was, but yeah, I'm really pleased with it. It came out great.
Well, I want to talk about being nervous because I think for a lot of us, and this was one of my questions. Being in Radiohead, I would think you may not have any nervousness. Now, I know that the past couple of decades, you've been collecting all of the stuff that I'm assuming have sort of made an appearance on this record. But as far as a confidence standpoint, it's very interesting that you allow yourself to be a little bit vulnerable. And I think
Yeah,
it's kind of a cool attribute when you say you're in a studio with another musician and you got a little anxious.
yeah. I think that feels really normal, and I actually think that's a really good place to be. I think if you're nervous, you're unsure, you're out of your comfort zone, and I think that's really important because that implies you're doing something that you've never done before. And I think as a musician, as a creator, it's always important to be out of your comfort zone. I think Bowie said this a lot. He said, you get to that point where you're feeling a bit unsure and uncertain. He said, that's exactly the place that you should be. Um, and I kind of, I think that's inevitable. I mean, you might think that, Radiohead is this kind of, we're super confident about what we collectively do. And I don't think that's ever the case. Before we go out on stage live every night, you know, there are good butterflies, there are good nerves. And that stuff is really, really important because it means you care and you're moving forward and you're not doing what you've always done. And that to me that's the bigger picture in all of this. As a musician, I'm seeking new experiences to get greater, to challenge myself, to grow, to flourish, to blossom, all these things. So yeah, it feels very. I'm pleased that I feel nervous and uncertain because I think that
I
again is the creator's way.
I really gravitate towards your saying that because it doesn't matter what business you're in. If you're a musician that has a lot of fans, or if you're a chef, or if you're a radio DJ or anything, I think you're absolutely right that when there's a nervousness to step maybe out of the line that you've been traveling for a minute, that fuels it. And so I love hearing that. And I'm excited because we're 2 days away from Earth, and I can't wait to hear the record. And I say
Great.
this almost on every interview that I do. And,
Yeah.
I'm passionate about a new project like yours, right? And I'm passionate about your band, and I have been for a minute, for a long minute. I just appreciate it, and I love listening to a record start to finish. And I don't know what your mindset is based, a full record, an EP. do people listen like that necessarily? I know it's such a personal question, and you know the answer may remain a bit elusive, but I love sitting down and listening start to finish. You know, is
Yeah,
that the
I'm
way
the
you
same as
recorded it?
well. Yeah, absolutely. I'm kind of old fashioned like that because my favorite records are like that. What's going on, Marvin Gaye, you know, start to finish. Um, so yeah, I'm kind of old fashioned like that. I really like records, and whether people listen to it like that, I don't know. But I'm also I was always a fan of the mixtape, which is taking a track out. It's like a playlist.
Yeah.
It's an old fashioned playlist. So I think I would hope that I love songs or uh, you know, songs that can work on their own in isolation depending on the mood, but then when you put it together they sort of, it takes you on an emotional journey. um and yeah, and I, you know, we've always tried to do that in Radiohead, uh really from the second album from Ben's onwards. I don't think we knew what we were doing on the first album on Pablo Honey, but on the second album it's, and 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 we spent a lot of time track listing and making sure it works right. So yeah, it's part of the craft. It's part of the thing, I believe, in making a record. It's your opener, how you close it, what sits next to it, and what happens when what if you're lucky. What happens is that you line up these songs and then you put them together and they become greater than some of their parts, and that's what you're trying to do. That's what all great albums, you know, if you know, I know Nick Mason from Pink Floyd, and I think Pink Floyd would be, you know, you put these songs together and suddenly you get this whole different picture, this whole bigger picture. So yeah, I think that's part of the craft of making
I'm
records.
super excited, and it's a real pleasure to be talking to you right now. So thank you
Thank you.
for making the time. The record is Earth. It's out in 2 days. I'm going to be blunt. Why did it take you so damn long to make a solo record? Because,
Well,
and
yeah,
it's tongue in cheek, of course, and
yeah, I
respect.
know. Yeah,
Um,
no,
but you've been doing your thing a long time, man, in Radiohead, and so why right now? Is the time is right?
partly I don't know why, because you never know why these songs, you know, I found a way to write songs which came later on
Yes.
in my life. And the other part is the reason it's taken so long. I mean, all the songs are basically I started writing about summer 2013, and they are all finished by the summer of 2014, all demoed and all the songs are written. And then summer 2014, I enter the Radiohead uh,
Okay.
cycle, which is recording an album and touring. And that really went on to basically all of 2017. I started recording my record at the end of 2017, and still in 2018 we had 2 tours of America. You had a tour of America and a tour of South America. So it was really, when I think about the time, because it does feel like a long time, but it sandwiched this big Radiohead cycle. And I just couldn't do the 2 at the same time. I had to let one run and
Sure.
then put a lid on that and then move on. They were emotionally very different records.
Okay. Um, how many guitars do you have? What kind of instruments do you have at your house? Do you have a shitload of guitars everywhere and amps in every room, or?
No, I don't. I've got how many amps? I've got 4 amps here. I've got a nice I've got an old Gibson amp. I've got a Fender Bandmaster. I've got a Lazy J20, and then I've got, how many guitars? I haven't got them because most of them in storage.
Sure.
So I've got this weird Rickenbacker hybrid thing from the '60s. It's somebody's customized it to. It's amazing. I've got a custom shop Fender Strat with lace sensor pickups. It's just really great. And then I've got a couple of lovely acoustics. The guitar, the Martin 0018, which is the one which is all over the record. It's the only acoustic on my record.
Awesome.
And it's that one. That's like a 1959, and I got a '64 Gibson Hummingbird.
So that
But
one, okay, go ahead.
yeah, but the thing I've got, which I'm most excited about, is I've got in my possession, waiting to be dug into, is you'd say Moog, we'd say Moog, a Moog One keyboard, which is their big polyphonic, all singing, all dancing, 16 voices of synth.
Did you see my facial expression? I was just
Yeah,
kind of
yeah, yeah.
like,
Yeah, exactly. It's
That's
going
got
to
to
be,
give you butterflies.
yeah, I've got to get my head under the bonnet, and I've just got to get in there. And I also can the victim of the tools you have around you. So I'm hoping that I've got I've got my pedal board as well, but
Sweet.
I've got some good stuff.
Are you always playing? Do you
No,
play every day? Just
listen, I would like to, but I'm very busy and have been with promo. Like playing for me
yeah, yeah.
is something I love. It's also therapy, but I've got over that. I remember when I was going through a period about 11, 12 years ago when I was feeling like I was really stuck in my playing, and I wasn't feeling it, and I was just like, I don't want to pick up the guitar, which when you're a musician can be quite kind of like, well. And I was very lucky. I met Eric Clapton, and I'd heard this stuff. A friend of mine, the guys in Wilco, band Wilco, friends of mine, they said they'd bumped into Jeff Beck's guitar tech
Stop it.
at the Sunset Marquee, and this guitar tech was great and was saying that Jeff Beck practices 5 hours a day religiously. Yeah. And so I said to
Oh
Eric
my
Clapton,
God.
I said, listen, I said, do you play every day? And he went, oh God, no. He said, no, no, no. He said, like, I only play when I really want to play and I feel it. And he said at the start of a tour, when he's rehearsals, he says the first week, his fingers are agony. So I kind of took that, and I think that's really important. You play when you want to, or you're able to. Don't give yourself a hard time. But there's no point playing if you're not feeling it. Do something else. Read a book. That all plays a part of the creative process. It's not just picking up your instrument.
That's well said. And again, kind of for anybody's business, no matter what line of work you're in,
Yeah, for sure.
time to have some downtime. What other conversation am I going to have today, this week, or this year that would feature references to Pink Floyd, Wilco, Eric Clapton, Jeff Beck? This to me is fascinating. You bring up Wilco. Isn't Wilco on your record?
Yeah, well, Glenn Kochi, who's
Yep.
Wilco's drummer, the most phenomenal drummer. Him and John Stirrat, bass player, are dear friends. We were on holiday all with our families last year,
Cool.
And Glenn and his family were living in Finland because his wife won a Fulbright scholarship. And so he was kind of, Finland is not like Chicago. It's kind of around the corner. And
Yeah.
I was going through a hard time in the studio, and I needed some rhythmic assistance. So I emailed Glenn and I said, Glenn, if I paid, can I fly you out to just come and he's like, he checked in with Mitty, his wife, and they were like, yeah. So he got on a plane and got him on a plane, and he came and spent a couple of days with us, and it was great. I mean, he's a beautiful person, but he's a phenomenal drummer. So yeah.
Do you feel like, Ed, when you back in, I don't know, 2013, 2014, or even prior, in your mind, do you come up with like a superstar wish list of musicians and then kind of see where you're going to fill in the blanks with that to complement your vocals and your guitar work?
Yeah, it's funny. I mean, this is the first time I've done it, but that's exactly what I did. And when I was demoing the record back in 2013 and writing it, Daft Punk Random Access Memories had just come out, and the rhythm section on a lot of and there's this amazing footage of them at the Grammys playing Get Lucky, and there's Pharrell, Stevie Wonder on keys, Nile Rodgers on drums, the Robots doing all their robot stuff, and then the rhythm section is Omar Hakim and Nathan East. And I was like, oh my God, of course I know those guys, and like, wow, yeah, and I don't know them, but I know of them because they're titans. They're huge. They're masters of their instruments. And so when I was demoing, I said to Ian, the engineer, I said, oh, imagine we've got Nathan East on bass here, and we've got Omar Hakim on drums. This is the vibe. And not in my wildest dreams did I think they'd actually end up, but it was interesting. When I went out on tour with Radiohead, I was touring America, and I got to bumped into Daft Punk's manager. I was talking to him about Nathan and Omar, and he said, oh, they're amazing. And I guess probably in the sort of, just just being on tour and being out there and doing some shows, and I was like, okay. And he said, do you think that, I said to him, I said, do you think they'd be interested in playing? They said, how? He said, hell yeah, you know, you guys are just headlining Coachella. The, you know, Radiohead's on these guys' radar. So what was great was I was able to have a conversation with them initially on the phone and ring up and speak. And I was like, you know, I'm trying to get this project going. I kind of would love you to come out and be part of the initial playing for 3 weeks. And is this the kind of thing you'd be up to? And also more realistically, do you have time to do this? Because schedules with those guys is really tight.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I did have a wish list, and David Akumu is another one who I'd wanted to work with for a long time. And Laura Marling, obviously.
Yes.
So I did that thing whereas I aimed high, and I thought, you know what? I mean, I'm lucky because I'm in Radiohead, which usually means at least someone will, you know, you can call them or email them, and you can have some communication. But what was great was, you know, getting beyond that and actually getting to play with them.
Yeah, and you know what, I love the hell out of Radiohead. I mean, I was in college. And, you know, a lot of your Radiohead records have been themes and anthems. That sounds cheesy and so cliche.
No, it doesn't. Sounds cool. Sounds all right.
I really like that. And I love the references to Radiohead. But guess what? Like, in 2 days, you have a record coming out.
Yeah.
And so, like, to me, Radiohead, awesome. Cannot wait to see. Maybe we'll connect in DC with Radiohead. But you know what? I'm hoping when you tour this record, Earth, that you'll come to DC and we can have a round of drinks or something, because I really appreciate all of the things that go into making a record.
Yeah.
It's kind of like building a car. There's a lot of shit between the production line and when you get to the showroom floor, and your showroom floor is 2 days away, man. Like, so I enjoy this, like, process.
Thank you for the kind words. So
that's pretty cool. I want to ask you 2 more questions. Do you have any animals in your family? Dogs or cats?
We've got a dog, a collie Springer mix. She was a rescued dog from Ireland, and she's great. We love her very dearly.
Are you guys on lockdown too, like many people, like most?
Yeah. Everybody's on lockdown. You can't go out. I think gatherings of more than 2 people, it's illegal or something. It's very severe.
Has it sort of put a curveball or dampened the spirits of launching your first record, or are you just powering through and let's do this? Because in this day and age, I can buy your record. I'd prefer to buy it on vinyl, but I can buy it online and tomorrow night at midnight. Yeah,
I'm not at all despondent, or I mean, this thing is obviously bigger than my record, and it just feels like I have a real sense that, you know, as a musician, we're not key workers, but we can be in the kind of, or health workers, we could maybe be in the next line, because, you know, songs can help lift the spirits or allow people to be emotional, to process stuff. So, you know, I'm just, you know, I've always felt this about what I do and what I've done in Radiohead. It's like service. You're being of service. First of all, you're a service to the music when it comes and you make it. That's what it's all about. And then once it's finished, it's serving your fans and putting it out there, and it's for them. And a gig is like service. It's about giving. It's about, you know, giving.
I dial into that so much because, like a concert, let's say a concert's 90 minutes or 2 hours. Concert's going to come and go, but the experience of being in the moment is going to last. You're going to have a shitload of memories based on that concert. The same thing goes for music. I can always pick up a Radiohead record. I can always listen. I just broke out Disintegration from The Cure a couple of days ago.
It's a great album.
One of my favorite bands in the whole world. But that's
amazing.
what I love about music, because whatever you're feeling, you know, and I really do look forward to getting to know Earth. And
great.
How many minutes of music do we get?
It's about 44.
Okay.
9 songs, 44. It's kind of, I'm really aware of, because I wanted to get it on vinyl and I didn't want to go to the whole double vinyl thing. I want it to be
Okay.
one side, each side. And I know it's crazy to think of vinyl in this day of streaming, but I still like the two sides. And I also think that albums can be too long. When we all went to CDs, people doing 65 minutes of music is too much for me. Marvin Gaye, what's going on? I think that's like 32 minutes. It doesn't feel too short, you know.
It doesn't. No, it doesn't.
No.
If you look at it and you're like, oh, it's only 32 minutes long. But if you're listening to it, totally different ballgame.
Yeah, totally, exactly.
Ed, you're a pleasure. You're super talented. You're cool as shit.
Oh.
And
I need you around when my teenage kids are saying that I'm the opposite.
That's okay. So that's pretty funny. And I look forward to it. I'm assuming once all this Corona stuff is over, can we expect a North American tour and see you perform the record?
Yeah, I really hope so. I would love to do that. That's the aim.
I would look forward to seeing you in concert, and I cannot wait to buy the record.
All right, Josh. Thank you very much.
This was a lot of fun. Thanks for your time.
Thank you for your time. Bye.
Take care. Bye-bye.